And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, along with Odie, and I warned y'all at 6:30 that this boy was going to be bright today.
Look at that. I mean, there's poor old Don sitting right there.
And Odie, to explain this, he went on a vacation, and the wives made shirts for him and put all the friends' pictures on it.
Yeah, so it was me and Don and Greg and Jeremy and Barry. Y'all know the operator of the Barry yacht. We each got a shirt with everybody else's face on it.
Right.
So Greg's would have mine in place of his, and Don would have mine in place of his. So yeah, I figured it's Friday. I got my hair cut. We're going to celebrate. We're having a good time. We're going to the beach this weekend, so I felt like I'd bring out the shirt. And then all of a sudden I found out that we've got this awesome special guest today.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, I could have dressed a little bit nicer. But, hey, it's Friday, and we're here, and we're glad each one of y'all are here with us.
Again, this morning we're going to have a senator in the house with us. Chris McDaniel has arrived. He's here with us. We're looking forward to finding out what he's into as we're 1 month away from the big day, the election day, isn't it?
From casting our vote for Chris. Well, I mean, I'm voting for him.
We'll see what happens this morning. There's a lot of people that are undecided at this point who don't know. Maybe Chris has something to tell you that will change your mind, get you on the path of what he's after. Some other ideas as well. He knows a lot of people in the state. It's just time to choose and go vote because this affects your life for tomorrow and the next day and, well, for the next 4 years. Choose your votes wisely.
We've got a lot of people out there that's running for offices. We've got a lot of offices that need to be filled. So do your homework. See who really meets what you think's best for your local, the state, for you and your kids and your grandkids. Remember, this is something that's going to be around forever. What happens now will affect what happens when your grandkids come along.
Odie, I just can't take you serious with that shirt, though.
At least I'm not in my clown get-up.
We ain't even going to get into that today. As we start breaking headlines this morning, this is, to say the least, ridiculous. As we find out that around 10 p.m. last night, 3 in a row, Odie, as we go to this, the third armed robbery in our town last night. And armed. This would happen on 8th Street as they walked into the 4610 Texaco. There, right down from McDonald's there on 8th Street is where this would happen. Now, as we well know, right here was a robbery here yesterday morning at 2:30 in the morning. And then due north of here, let me just show this. We'll go up here and take a look at some of these other robberies of where they happened. This was the robbery yesterday afternoon. It happened right here at the Paradise Food Mart, just to the northeast of Highland Park. And then on Highway 19, just less than a mile from where that robbery happened last night. As we look at this, it was a black male that walked in, brandished a firearm, demanded the cash, and walked out. Every one of these had been on foot. Now, the second robbery of yesterday was a juvenile with an ankle bracelet that robbed the store. Already in trouble, as we know. We don't know his identity yet, but he did have an ankle bracelet.
Well, they'll throw that out and say it's inadmissible to court to track him.
That's what happens.
But the thing is, you can go back and look and say, which one of those bracelets was at this address?
It ain't rocket science.
No, it's not.
But we have a mayor, we have an administration that seems to think that a camera can take the place of a police officer. It does not. It assists a police officer. It's wonderful to have them, but it does not take the place of a police officer being there. And you have to have police officers for these things to be proactive, to be ahead of what the criminals are doing. We are at a dire strait of not having enough police officers to police. Their lives are in danger. and your life is in danger. Now,
Well, you need cameras that work.
right.
And you need someone who is actually paying attention to these cameras that can, as soon as a call comes out, they can put visual eyes on these cameras to assist what you just said, the actual police officers who are on the streets putting their life on the line. That's the only way you're going to stop this.
That's true. Now, let me go back to this. Let me pull this back up. I showed this yesterday morning, but I want you to see of what a criminal does. Let's pull this up. This is being in the face of danger as a gun is shoved in someone's face. Let me blow this up here. Here we go. Let's hit play on this. The robber's going to come in here, and that's not playing, is it? It's just sitting still. Here he is right here. I'm going to pause this. That gun right there is in that young man's face. Does he think he's going to be shot? He absolutely does. Can this happen to you? It sure can. Yeah. Someone's going to be hurt in a parking lot as one of these guys exit. It's going to be someone behind that counter that is hurt. Now, and I urge this, if this bothers you and you feel like you need to lock your door and let customers in one at a time, then do that. Your life is worth so much more than anything that happens. And I say this because as you put this in my mind on a scale of 1 to 10, we are at a high 8 of criminal activity rolling into this weekend. Is this going to stop? No. All of this is leading up to bigger crimes. They're seeing how fast response the cops are to come. Someone is going to be seriously hurt. Who is to blame for this? Y'all decide that. When you vote, that's how you fix these problems.
This isn't freedom.
No, this is not. We don't want anyone hurt, do we, Odie?
No, not at all. And we pay taxes to be safe. And right now we've got so many people in our area that just don't feel safe, and I can see their point.
Yeah, I can too.
It's a terrible time to have cameras as a main deterrent when they're not working.
You see something this weekend that bothers you, pay attention. It's kind of like the little voice on your shoulder. If something is talking to you, going, something is not right here, pay attention to it. Do that. As your mama used to tell you, it's better safe than sorry.
Your gut can tell you some stuff.
Let's look at Leake County. The Leake County Sheriff's Department has put out a what I would call a bolo. Be aware of this. This gentleman is armed and dangerous in Leake County, Walnut Grove area, in the area where the prison is, right here, as we'll look at this pew. He's wanted out of Jackson for murder, aggravated assault and shooting into a dwelling, and he has been seen in the Walnut Grove area. If you have seen this man, make sure to call 911 immediately, whether it's Meridian that you see him, it's Walnut Grove there in Leake County, or if it's over in Neshoba County. Call someone, Newton County. All of these areas are close. Again, we don't want anybody hurt with this.
Yeah, and don't approach him.
No, it's just not worth that. So many things that happen behind the scenes of this. We did have some gunfire in Meridian yesterday, 2 of these. I have been real cautious over the last week and a half to 2 weeks because of fireworks going, okay, a firework can be mistaken for a gunshot. So we've been really, really calm and not posting a lot until we were for sure. Yesterday we had 2 incidents that I will call gunfire. Paulding Street. Again, this is just due south of where the robberies have happened here. All along 8th Street here, east of 5th Street is where those gunshots were. We had another one also there yesterday, and I don't know where I placed it at, Odie, but we had one just to the west of there yesterday afternoon.
You know, there's too much of that going on.
It is.
And a lot of that, you never know if those gunshots are to pull an officer over to that side while something else happens on this side. And we don't have enough to fill in these gaps. And you've got to go check these things out. It's going to take everybody with their eyes and ears out. Call 911. If you see something, pay attention to it. Never walk out of a store without your head on a swivel.
Yep.
Always be prepared to take action.
Always look at it as if your wife is watching you.
That's right. And you got eyes in the back of your head then. So,
On the way, we've got our special guest this morning, Chris McDaniel, who made a pit stop, so to speak, last night in Clark County and spoke to some folks. We're going to find out how that went. The campaign trail is on for those votes, and we'll find out what he's going to do for you if he's elected as Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Mississippi. All that's next.
Patrick Allen Companies services and repairs all brands of overhead doors, residential and commercial. Our service technicians are factory trained and have over 125 years of combined experiences. At Patrick Allen Companies, we are not interested in being the biggest, just the best. We are just 4 miles south of Meridian on Highway 145. Patrick Allen Companies, safety, service, and satisfaction.
J&J Tire and Muffler, located at 3420 8th Street, invites you by. And if you need a front-end alignment, make sure to try their new state-of-the-art alignment machine. No matter the size of your truck and car, J&J can align it. J&J also has touch-free mounting, laser wheel balancing, and as always, they provide preventive maintenance, including CV axles, shocks, struts, brakes. And they even do work on motorcycles. With the largest selection of new and used tires, along with exhaust systems. Locally owned and operated since 1978 in Meridian.
For something as vital as your eyes, you should have your lenses and contacts made with the utmost care and precision. And that's what Grayson Optical does on 24th Avenue. Since 1996, Grayson Optical's mission has been to provide Meridian and surrounding areas with quality eye care products. That's why we're locally owned and operated. And don't forget, custom-made sunglasses like Costa for your eyes only. When you need to see clearly, Grayson Optical. 2021 24th Avenue, Meridian. 601-693-6374.
Hello, my name's Kenneth Graham, and I'm running for coroner of Lauderdale County. For over 50 years, Lauderdale County's been represented by professional and competent coroners. I would like to continue that tradition. Over the next several months, I want to educate the public on what the coroner does and dispel any myths about the coroner job. I can show you that I will be the most professional coroner there is. So please vote for me August the 8th.
Paid for by the Committee for the Election of Kenneth Graham. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. This is Odie in the bright shirt. That's our American flag back there.
My friend. Well, they're not my friend. They're just my compadre. I get stuck knowing them, and I go hang out with them.
There you go. Across from us sits a guy that is running for election in the great state of Mississippi, as we said. For Lieutenant Governor, we bring him in this morning. How in the world is Chris McDaniel?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
You went to Long's Fish Camp last night?
I did, and I didn't have to have a bodyguard. I went down there. It was technically outside of Meridian, so I knew I wouldn't get shot.
There you go.
But I did. I made it down there, and we had a great event. Really good people.
Great food.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of questions, or do you find that on the campaign trail that people come up to you and want to know, well, Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important. A lot of politicians will give a speech, and then they'll run out of the room. That's not fair.
Joe even ignores them.
Right, exactly. Well, he doesn't know he's there half the time, right? Joe Biden. But I think it's important to stand before the people. The reason is they're my employer.
Right.
I'm just an employee. And so if I can't answer the tough questions, I shouldn't serve. And so, yeah, we had a good crew. It was good food and a lot of good questions.
Now, today, let me ask this because we didn't get a chance to talk before we went on. Any other stops today in Mississippi? Where are you headed after you leave here today?
Absolutely. We'll go over to Jackson, and we'll celebrate the end of Roe versus Wade there, 1 year anniversary.
Oh, is it 1 year today?
It's a few days ago.
Okay.
We're celebrating the 1 year anniversary today. And then we'll take off back down to my hometown in Ellisville, Mississippi. I haven't been there much in the last few months, but I'm heading back to Jones today to have an event and see everybody. So I'm really excited about that.
Now, as we added it up, it's tomorrow will be 1 month before the primary elections go there.
Goodness.
And I know that you want to urge folks to get out and vote.
I do. It's August the 8th is the Republican primary. And as you know, I'm taking on the president or the sitting lieutenant governor, which is who has behaved like a Democrat the entire time he's been in office. And look, I just think it's time for a change. I'm tired of politicians selling us out. I'm tired of politicians pretending to be conservative. And then once they're elected, they basically don't fight for our values and don't fight for our belief system. And one of the best examples I have of that is we only have 16 Democrats in the chamber, and he appointed 13 of those 16 Democrats to be powerful chairmen.
Now, I don't think the average Mississippian probably knows that. So we've got 16 and he appointed 13.
Absolutely. You know, we outnumber them in the chamber 36-16, right? So you'd be thinking we'd be passing everything we've ever dreamt of. It's not happening because Delbert Hosemann appointed 13 Democrats to be powerful chairmen. And the problem with that is he's blocking legislation, they're blocking legislation, and that's one of the reasons I ran. I'm just tired of watching this country degrade and fail while Democrats are in control. And listen, I don't mean to be hateful about this. You probably have some Democrats listening, but the modern Democrat Party, This is not the party of Roosevelt or of Kennedy.
Right.
These are radicals. These individuals have gone off of the
And I
charts.
brought this up the other day,
Yeah.
Chris. You can be a Republican, you can be a Democrat, but deep down, I think all of us still believe in God, country, and it's just a few of those that go that extreme, and they somehow or another end up in office changing the laws of this. But the average Democrat, average Republican still have the same beliefs deep down.
Well, it's crazy. I used to believe that. But look, if you're a member of this modern Democrat Party, you need to reevaluate your position. This is a party that's attacking our very foundations, our very institutions. This is a party that elected perhaps the most corrupt president in the history of this country. Joe Biden is not only inept, he's corrupt. His family is corrupt.
Well, you heard me say this morning before you came in, for the third time this week, they've changed the location where the cocaine was found in the White House. 3 times changed it.
It's unbelievable. You know, they have the cameras to know where every human being was on January the 6th.
Yes.
But they can't seem to find the guy with the cocaine in the White House.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do that there's more cameras in the White House than there is anywhere.
Oh,
Absolutely. They don't want to find this guy. They knew who it is. Where was Hunter Biden that day? That's the real question.
Hello.
He was there.
We'll see there. Well, here's the thing. All that joking aside, you know, you talk about this move to the left with that party. I can't even watch TV anymore without being indoctrinated. It's about sexual orientation. It's about multiple genders. It's about attack on Christianity. Everywhere we look, that party, the Democrats, are leading the charge against this country's foundations. Now, if that's the case, we shouldn't be compromising with those people. We shouldn't be reaching across the aisle to those people. Our job as Republicans is to defeat the Democrats and to elect conservatives to office. And here's why. We're losing this country. I take that very seriously.
Yes.
And the help for us to save it, it's not going to come from Massachusetts or California or New York. If we're going to save this country, we have to build forts in the South, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. That's how we push back.
That's a valid point there. Now, if you're sitting at home here and you're saying, who is Chris McDaniel? I've heard the name, but I just don't know him. This is the guy. Tell us in a nutshell here, of somebody that's never seen you, heard from you, why should they vote for Chris McDaniel? What are you going to do if you were to take office? What's going to happen that's going to be different than anybody else?
Combination of several things. The first thing we're going to do is to make sure your individual liberties are protected, all of them. Your right to worship, your right to speak, your right to own firearms. These are important elements of who we are as American citizens. But also, we're going to move the Senate back to the right, back to conservative principles and values in the mold of a Reagan, in the mold of a Donald Trump. Trump was a fighter.
Right.
Now, I get people were mad at him and angry with him, but think about it. He finally stood up against a very corrupt system. We need those fighters everywhere, in Jackson, in Washington, wherever the case may be, and that's what I'm going to bring to the table. Some of the issues we'll see, we're going to get rid of the income tax in this state.
Oh.
We're going to get rid of the grocery tax
Now,
in this
grocery
state.
tax, I don't care how you slice that. Every Mississippian that goes there, that affects them.
It's a big deal.
And it's a point of whether you're being able to feed your family or not. That would save so much.
It's a big deal. You know, you think about government taxing necessities of life. Doesn't seem fair. Only 3 states presently do it, and Mississippi happens to be one of the unfortunate 3 that still do it. And it's just crazy. Something else I want to do. This woke culture I keep referring to in our universities and colleges and schools, it's got to go. And I want to be real clear about this. These professors that are brainwashing our children in these universities, we're going to end tenure. We're going to bring them home. Same with these teachers in schools. Their job is to teach their coursework. Not to brainwash my kids. I don't want to hear about sexual orientation. I don't want to hear about transgender reading hour at the local library.
That's not what school's about.
It certainly is not. And if these teachers, of which my wife is a teacher, my mother-in-law was a teacher, my father was a teacher, but they did the right things.
Right.
These teachers that are pushing an agenda, we're going to get them out of there. They got to go. My kids deserve all of our attention. Your kids, all of our kids deserve our attention. I'm just sick of losing a generation of Americans to these liberals who are indoctrinating and brainwashing.
All right, I got a suggestion here. Did you ever watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm thinking that
Mass
me and
communicating.
Odie could be your think tank on the side there.
Well, you know, well, this is one of my problems with the school is when the kids come home knowing who the teacher's going to vote for, whether it's who I vote for or I support or not. When the child knows who the teacher supports, the teacher failed that child. Unless they're in government and you talk about that.
Yeah.
But when you're in a math class
Yeah.
and you speak about an election, and my grandchild comes home and says, Papa, teachers talked about so-and-so today. I have got a problem because now your teacher's not teaching you the subject you need to learn.
Absolutely, and it's got to go. Look, there's so many things we can do in this state to make it better. Even term limits. I think term limits would make all of us better. I'm tired of the political class in this country, and they need to come home and get jobs in the private sector and let new people serve. It just makes sense to me. Not one stepping down, everybody systemically stepping down. Absolutely.
I think you're just going to get more votes with that one statement.
More coming up with Chris McDaniel. Will be right back.
Our local headlines are brought to you by the Rock House Gun & Pawn.
Are you looking for a job that could last a lifetime? Structural Steel is hiring now. With employees that have been there from 20 to 40 years, they're family owned and operated since 1975. Competitive starting wages, a 401k package, and great insurance. Immediate openings on the day shift and night shift. From entry-level helpers, welding and tacking, grinding and fitting. And the list goes on of job openings. Start your future today at Structural Steel. Call 483-5381.
It's almost election time. Have you researched the candidates? My name is Michelle Griffith Joyner, and I'm asking for your vote for Lauderdale County Justice Court Judge District 1. With a bachelor's degree in criminology and more than 23 years of experience actually working in a criminal court, I'm qualified, experienced, and ready. My goals are to enforce personal responsibility and reduce recidivism. On August 8th, please vote for qualifications. Vote Michelle Griffith Joyner for Lauderdale County Justice Court Judge District 1. Learn more about me at joynerforjustice.com.
Welcome back with Scotty Ray and Odie as we begin this day. Before we go back to Chris, I wanted to bring this. As we were getting ready for lunch, I got a text that said, hey, the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department is done commenced a chase. I looked at Odie, he looked at me, so we started making phone calls. Sure enough, it was. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department needs your help this morning. Let me show you a picture here. We have two individuals that are still at large. Let's make this a little bit bigger. This would happen out on Old 8th Street Road. They would cut up a pipeline and run up the car there. Boogie there. Then jump out on foot and outrun deputies. Now, I think Billy is halted all donut eating until they are arrested.
You know, that right there is an incentive.
Yes, it is.
You pull
No
my
donuts.
donut.
Tell them, Billy.
Oh, me. And I want to say one of the charges is this guy is a known sex offender.
Yes.
He is not just a known sex offender. He has been charged with it and found guilty. So now he's got to register. And he has failed to register as a sex offender.
Well, as a matter of fact, we can just pull right up his arrest record. Won't we pull that up and show everybody?
There we
go. Here it is, and here's the charges there. Sex offender, resisting arrest, and possession of, what is that word?
Methamphetamine.
Shame.
So we need to get this guy to come in and do a little bit of talk, and maybe he won't get the treatment that he's got down at the Berry Yacht, or get the food that he can get from our favorite meeting place down there, Skidmore.
There you go.
Hey, we need to bring him in for a little talking and see if we can't get that guy straight.
Well, that's what we've got this morning. We want to make sure that you know that. Yesterday afternoon, Chris, I'm sure you've been driving down the road, and you look up, and I see blue lights, and I think, wow, what's going on here? It was the Mississippi Highway Patrol sitting on the side of the road, Highway 19 North. So I slow down. I think, well, here's an opportunity to find a crime that's going on. Well, I noticed the crime, and I thought, I just ain't taking a picture of this. This is just going to have to happen, and I'm going to put it in words. Right in front of the state trooper, he was following a guy in nothing but his underwear, right down the edge of the road. And I thought, boy, am I glad I ain't got to do that arrest.
Well, at least he had something.
He had a backpack, though, and he was just getting it there in his skippy underwear right down the edge of the road.
He was probably hot.
Boy, he was extremely hot. The ladies were not blowing the horn, though. A lot of times they go by and they go, honk, honk. It wasn't happening.
So he wasn't getting the 10 or nothing.
Nothing. Headed right up toward the Rock House Trading Post. I called up Justin. I said, y'all look out.
What'd
you and
say?
Ross.
Booger there.
The things that you see. We we really do have a lot of naked people in our area that just want to roam.
Yeah,
I
but
thought
some
that
of
was.
them are just downtown.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
well,
by the hospital.
Odie said it best. Maybe they're just hot, right?
It
It was
is.
103 degrees yesterday. Of course, what are you supposed to do? It's Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean,
What
come
happened to
on.
the good old days when it was like Al Bundy? You just go take the family and hang out in the produce house.
But it's okay if we go to the beach and hang out in our underwear.
Yeah, that's right. That's a totally different story there. Chris, we're coming up here as you've been just about every square mile of the state at this point, haven't you?
Oh yes, sir. I've traveled every bit of it. My opponent has all the institutional money. He's got all the corporate money, all the special interest money, all the lobbyist money. We have volunteers and friends, and what we do is we travel extensively throughout the state to meet as many people as we can, and I've loved every second of it. This is an incredible place to be. Mississippi's amazing.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I feel that Mississippians, especially people that voting, need to know this. Are you and do you consider yourself a man of faith?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was saved when I was 13 years old. I came. I don't know if you remember what it's like. I got really convicted.
Right.
And it's the worst feeling in the world. And I remember coming home from church one Sunday, and it was so heavy on my heart. The Holy Spirit was speaking to me. I went back in the back and just laid down and covered up. My dad, who was one of the finest people I ever knew, he came back there and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "What's wrong?" And he knew. He kind of knew
Right.
intuitively. And I said, "Just nothing. I just don't feel good." He goes, "Tell me what's wrong." And he led me to Christ right there at that moment. And it changed everything. Now, granted, I am far from perfect.
No, aren't we all?
I'll give you an example. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And that's bad. That's bad. But the point is, I'm a sinner, and I know that, but I also know that I have a Savior. And it's an incredible thought, incredible feeling. And, it's 13 years old.
And see, that's
That's
important to me.
awesome.
And I want to interrupt that thought because this comes about. And let me step back and explain something that happened on today. In Nashville, Tennessee, it was late 72. It was a superstar. And I'm not going to say who he was at this point, but he was a superstar on his way to becoming a well-known artist, songwriter. Now, he's often said, "I can't sing. I don't understand why people ever listen to me sing." The greatest writer of all time.
Yeah.
He would go to church one night. He was not a Christian. He sits in the row there, and he's looking around. Larry Gatlin takes the stage. I think most of us know him. All the Gold in California. You've never heard of Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers is performing at the church that night. And Larry sings a song, and he goes, "Wow, that's powerful." And the preacher says, "Raise your hand if you want to be saved by Christ." And he goes, I'm looking around going, "Why are these people raising their hand?" And he goes, before I knew what happened, he goes, my hand goes up. And he goes, I'm thinking, I'm embarrassed. I don't want these people to see me with my hands up. It's just, he said, I don't know why I'm doing it. Yeah. And he said, the preacher keeps preaching, and he calls for somebody to come down to the altar, and he goes, I'm not walking down there. And he says, the next thing he knows, he is walking, and he's on his knees in front of the church, and he said, I am crying like a baby. Yeah. And he goes, I don't know why. And he said, all at once, when the preacher laid his hand on him, he said, every guilt, everything that had ever happened in his life went away. Yeah. It was like a blessing. He gets up, he goes home, and he does what he does. He sits down and writes a song. It would become the number one song in 1973. It would stay in the charts for over 60 weeks. You know him as a movie star. He really sometimes can't be the greatest singer, but this one he did. He hit a home run on it. Let me show you his picture. It went number one on July the 7th, 1973. I think we all know this song. Why Me, Lord? Do y'all remember this from Chris Christopherson? You saw him in the movie Convoy. And that's how that song came to be, by sitting in church. Why Me, Lord? What did I ever do to deserve even one?
Well, you know, you said
it
earlier. Yeah. We're at less than 50% of
Christians.
God's in our home. We're looking at, we need a revival that's going to bring that number back up. If you don't think that we're in trouble, look at what goes on in our everyday life around here. We're always talking about robberies, gunshots, murders, all of this. And there's one thing that we can rest assured is going to save that. And that's our Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. And we need to get him back into our lives and back into this country and back into this state.
And in government offices as well, don't we, Chris?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. We see the crime and we see the corruption, but government can only do so much. You know, we've lived over the last 40 years with society kind of bristling at all things Christian, kind of pushing Christians to the out of the mainstream. And I'll tell you this, and I think people understand this now. If there's a persecuted class in this country right now, it's Christians.
Yes,
it's Christians. But when you push Christianity and Christians out of the mainstream, something replaces that. And that's what we're watching right now. We're watching society unravel culturally because we don't have those foundational principles. And until that happens, until we get those principles back in the hearts and minds of people, it's going to get worse and worse.
What is scary as we think about what Chris just said and what is coming in the future, we've seen the government go, well, if you see this, call this number, report it. There will be a day to where people report you for being a Christian. Now, I want y'all to know this. I'm not making this up. That will happen. We've got more coming up with Chris McDaniel. Don't y'all run anywhere. He's got more to tell us. We got more to tell you. We're going to put a smile on you.
Yeah, it's Friday.
I'm Nick Lisi, and I'm running for Justice Court Judge of District 1. Justice Court is the people's court, and I've been serving the people of Lauderdale County for 30 years. I grew up here, and now having 4 kids of my own, the future of our community matters to me. On August 8th, remember, vote Republican, vote Nick Lisi.
Garrett Outfitters on 8th Street is getting you ready for summertime. A large selection of cool hobo shirts. Maybe it's short sleeves. Maybe you need a pair of shorts. If you're going to be cutting grass or maybe riding a tractor this summer, you're going to need a straw hat to keep cool. And as you head to that favorite fishing hole, don't forget you'll need a pocket knife along with a great rod and reel. And if you earn your living in the woods, don't forget to check out their big selection of snake boots, Carhartt pants and shirts for any occasion. It's Garrett Outfitters, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Summertime has arrived, and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. From 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk. Have you been wanting your own building, your own shed? Speak to our friends at Bessadia Building, 601-728-1954. Now, they can custom build you a home from a barn dominium. Maybe it's a shed that you're needing, or a simple place to park your car, a garage, a camp house. Maybe you need a place to park your tractor, your motorcycle, or even that lawnmower. They can custom design whatever it is you need. Quality work, trustworthy, Bessadia Buildings. Speak with Drew, 601-728-1954. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. This is Odie. As we were getting ready to leave the studio yesterday, I got a text that said, whoa, we got an accident. And off to the races we ran. We jumped in the car and I ran out. Odie happened to be there. I saw him. And this is the scene that we saw. This is a truck that you don't like to see. It's called Simmons Wrecker Service. What does it mean? Well, it means this guy had issues yesterday.
Yeah, that's not where he's supposed to dump his load at.
Nope. Dump truck overturned there. This was on Lizelaia Road on the outskirts of Marion where it meets the city limits of Meridian. Now, no one was hurt, fortunately. As you can see, the skid marks as it went off into the bushes there. Fortunately, no one was hurt on that. I've got video of the truck being. If you've never watched these guys do what they do,
It's an art.
It is. Man, they hooked cables and it went right back up where it was. It's like watching that stuff on the professional wrecker guys on TV that do those shows on Discovery.
We've got professional record companies right here, and it's not just Simmons, but we've got some guys that are talented. Now, you know how they get that way? Because they got practice around here. They're always on the move. We're lucky to have the record guys we do with the wrecks that we have on the interstate. And I'm just glad that was early in the morning because that trash truck was going to stink.
Yes, you're right.
So I'm glad we got that finished.
Another thing that happened yesterday afternoon that I ran into, and I want to say a good job by the Meridian Police Department for defusing this. It was a domestic situation as I arrived on scene here. As you can see, it was a lot of cops there. There was an issue going on inside. They diffused it, and nothing happened in the end. This is Landmark Apartments off of North Hill Street. So I just wanted to say a good job to the guys that arrived on the scene there, and nothing happened. There was talk about there could be a gun, and nothing happened. Everything was diffused and settled. And any day that happens, it's a great day. So a big thank you to them. Our special guest this morning is a guy running for a state office, as you know him. There you go. Chris McDaniel, you even got your sign back there by the deer.
Yeah.
Now,
we're going to keep it. And we've had a bunch of people saying, hey, how can I get a sign? So for the people who are wanting signs, because we've had a bunch want it, so how can they get a sign? How can they get in touch with you? Or if they just want to ask you a question, how can they reach you?
Well, I was just thinking before I answer that real quick, crime, right? I was thinking about how do we stop it here in Meridian and elsewhere. And it just dawned on me that if we would force community service on these people, but make them wear Odie's shirt.
You know what?
That would be the greatest deterrent to crime we've seen.
That's exactly right. With Greg and Don and Jeremy and Barry on here.
I like it.
I tell you what.
I actually like it. It's pretty sharp. But no, getting back to the question, I'm sorry I digressed.
That was funny.
I was looking at the shirt thinking, well, that's the answer.
There's nobody else want to be seen in this. I'm the only one.
No, if you're looking for information, SenatorMcDaniel.com would be the website, SenatorMcDaniel.com. Or you can go to Facebook and just type in up there Senator Chris McDaniel, and I have a page on Facebook. So any one of those places will bring up the website, and that way people can look and get information, and we can hopefully connect.
As a matter of fact, this is what it looks like here. That's a drawing of you there, Senator Chris McDaniel, and you go here and you can click for information, and they can send an email to you in your office or message and get a response back to what they want to find out there.
Absolutely.
That's easy right there.
Now, as we mentioned, the election coming up, where's your next speaking engagement? Or do you know, am I putting you on the spot, or your folks hadn't handed you your paper yet?
Well, that's a great question. I think I'm saying a few words today at lunch for the 1-year anniversary of the reversal of Roe versus Wade. And then tonight, during the meet and greet in Jones County, I'll say a few words there as well. So pretty much every stop is going to be some speaking, maybe not formal speaking, but at least I'll answer a bunch of questions. So,
and it's always important, as we were sitting here talking before we went on the air, to answer the folks, because they really are your boss. They want to know what's going on there.
It's very important. I started watching politicians years ago, and I would see them speak, but they would avoid questions. And it made me wonder, what are they hiding? And the key here is full transparency. Somebody joked the other day, I may be wrong, but I'm going to be 100% wrong, right? I'm not going to hide it.
Let me ask this. Let me go a step further, because I'm not sure that I've ever had anyone answer this.
Okay.
As a Mississippian, you're sitting here and you see the governor of the state, and then you see the lieutenant governor. A lot of people don't hear from the lieutenant governor. It's always the face of the governor.
Right.
What really goes on behind the scenes? What does the lieutenant governor do for the state? What is his responsibilities? And if he's doing his job, what do we expect from it? Do you get where I'm going with this question?
I do. Delbert Hosemann is the person basically killing all of our legislation right now. He's the lieutenant governor. So it begs the question, how much power does the LG have?
That's my question.
And it has the most power of any position in the state. It's the most powerful position we have. And the reason for that is he's given the authority to assign bills in the legislature, to assign committee chairmen in the legislature, and to appoint committees in the legislature. And what that means is he controls the entire flow of legislation. Bills that survive, bills that die. That gives him the most power of any person in the state. So people think it's just a companion position to the governor. It's not. It is the most powerful position we have, and that's why it's so important.
And it's behind the scenes, and that's why most people the average Mississippian doesn't hear a lot on that level.
I'll give you an example. He has these cute commercials. The little lady on a bench.
Right.
But they don't realize how much harm he's doing the Republican and the conservative movement in this state. That's why he never talks about issues. He sits there and he has this nice conversation with this lady, and they are good commercials. But the reality is there's more to governing than cute commercials, and you can't drain the swamp sitting on a bench. You got to get out there and fight, and that's what I plan to do.
You know, I wanted to say this right here, and this goes back to the last time you came on the show with us. And a lot of people say, okay, I bet before the show, y'all sit down and say, okay, this is what you need to ask. This is what we can talk about, but nothing else. Today, you came in just right before we started this show. But last time you were on the show with us, we even asked that question. Okay, what's on the table? What's off the table? And you said, ask me anything that comes up. I'm not hiding behind anything. So just like our regular, normal, everyday program, we don't have a script.
No.
And we didn't get a script from you. So
that's right.
That's one thing that I really like seeing you sit down and talking about the issues and answering the questions, and none of this was planned. This wasn't something that we were limited on what to ask you.
No, sir. Anything in the world, and I mean that sincerely. Anything you want to ask, and you notice I don't have any notes with me. I'm not reading from a script or anything. This is just who I am, and I think that's very, very important for people to understand that.
We had a question there, and you may not know this yet. Do you have any plans of attending the Neshoba County Fair and speaking there? Will you be on deck to talk?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have tried multiple occasions to get Delbert Hoseman to debate me. He will not debate because he can't defend his record, but he owes the people of this state a debate. But if we can't get a debate, we'll at least get to speak at the Neshoba County Fair. And my speaking slot will be on the 26th. So I would
y'all show up.
Please show up.
Yes.
We'll have a good time. Absolutely.
The Neshoba County Fair, where a lot of things, even Ronald Reagan has been there. A very important part of our culture, the Neshoba County Fair. No matter how you slice this, how many years has it been going on, Odie? 130, 40?
Something like it, with only 1 year.
During the war.
Well, no, a couple years ago because of COVID.
Oh, yeah. But I thought there was one time during the war.
But then one time during the war. So I guess it's been twice. Out of all that, twice that they have not had that. But even, not Don Jr., but the other one. What's his other son's name? He came out.
And, Trump's other son that we never see much of.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of him.
He ain't got but two.
He's got some hot daughter-in-laws, so everybody says.
He's got a hot daughter.
Here we go.
I'm sorry.
Here we go. It's hot outside.
We need 134 years.
We need Trump to come to Neshoba County is what we need.
Yes, we do.
That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
But I remember when Trump ran for office, no guy running for president had ever stopped in the state of Mississippi to give a speech, and he came back to Mississippi to give one. I thought, well, that's way cool that he actually cares about a flyover state, as some of these people refer to us.
That's right.
It's a big deal. Absolutely.
So for a quick, let's ask this. Family man, a lot of people probably don't know your background. They've heard your name. You married? How many kids do you have? You're from Ellisville. We know all of that. Tell us a little bit about yourself here.
All right. Ellisville. I grew up there. Small town. I love basketball. Now, don't get me wrong, I played all the sports, but despite my short demeanor, I was a basketball player.
Were you any good at it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I can't. I wasn't Michael Jordan.
Okay, but you were pretty good at it.
I was like Larry Bird. Maybe like
Larry
Bird.
There you go.
I like Larry Bird.
I love Larry Bird. He's my favorite. In fact, there's an argument to be made that he is one of the greatest players in the history of the game, and I believe that. So basketball, my dad was a professor at JCJC, and I had that basketball gene in my body. I went to school there to play, and then went to William Carey to play, and then to Ole Miss. Right. I miss the old Ole Miss. I wish we still had more conservatives up there.
Correct.
You mean the Rebels?
Absolutely. I'm a rebel. Absolutely. I don't know what these Bears are, and
who even knows what their
I have no idea what they're
is
doing
anymore.
To me, it's always going to be Colonel Rebel. I know that's terrible, but I like Colonel Rebel.
Everybody did.
I did, and so I met my wife back at JCJC. And we dated for an awfully long time. I won't tell you how long because you'll make fun of me. But I was always told to get your education and your house in order first before you got married, and I tried to do that. So I met her back in '91. I've been with her ever since. We got married in about 10 years later. Isn't that crazy? I said I wasn't going to say it, yet I'm talking about it. But we dated about 10 years and got through law school, got all of that done, and then decided to get married. We were delayed. I told you about the death of my dad last time.
Correct.
And it was we were supposed to be married that week, but when he was killed, we postponed it again because I was in a very, very bad place at that time in my life. I went 2 years roughly, just struggling mightily with everything. But we're thankful for God, right? And we're thankful for the ability to be redeemed again. And in some respects, I realize I'm a Southern Baptist, and we say once saved, always saved. I agree with that, but I was saved twice. I had to live through that experience with my father. And we got married after that, and we have two beautiful children. One's 11, one's 16. And if you're on the Facebook page, you'll see we talk about their baseball games all the time. And I'm a really proud daddy, and I love those boys more than anything. So if they're watching, boys, I love you very much. And
takes a lot for Dad to say that.
Yes,
absolutely.
It does.
More coming up with Chris McDaniel as we travel along this morning.
I'm Nick Lisi, and I'm running for Justice Court Judge of District 1. Justice Court is the people's court, and I've been serving the people of Lauderdale County for 30 years. I grew up here, and now having 4 kids of my own, the future of our community matters to me. On August 8th, remember, vote Republican, vote Nick Lisi.
Garrett Outfitters on 8th Street is getting you ready for summertime. A large selection of cool hobo shirts. Maybe it's short sleeves. Maybe you need a pair of shorts. If you're going to be cutting grass or maybe riding a tractor this summer, you're going to need a straw hat to keep cool. And as you head to that favorite fishing hole, don't forget you'll need a pocket knife along with a great rod and reel. And if you earn your living in the woods, don't forget to check out their big selection of snake boots, Carhartt pants and shirts for any occasion. It's Garrett Outfitters, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Summertime has arrived, and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. From 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk. Have you been wanting your own building, your own shed? Speak to our friends at Best Sadia Building, 601-728-1954. Now, they can custom build you a home from a barn dominium. Maybe it's a shed that you're needing, or a simple place to park your car, a garage, a camp house. Maybe you need a place to park your tractor, your motorcycle, or even that lawnmower. They can custom design whatever it is you need. Quality work, trustworthy, Best Sadia Buildings. Speak with Drew, 601-728-1954. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we begin this Friday morning. We are so tickled that you chose us to be a part of your day. Don't forget anything that you're going to be working on in the yard this weekend to drop by and visit with our friends at the Lauderdale County Farm Supply. They got so much to do there, from just a simple axe handle to any flowers or shirts that you may be looking for. They just have it there for you. Garden hoses and a whole lot more, taking care of your farm, from your cattle to your goats to, well, just any kind of animal that you might have there. Yep, even brother-in-laws. They'll help you out there.
What about sister-in-laws?
Well, we ain't going there. The Lauderdale County Farm Supply, exit 151, right off the interstate. You can't miss it. Drop in and visit with them today. They've got something that you probably need to get the job done this weekend. We did get a comment of, where I went blank a moment ago, of all of the Trump sons.
Yeah, and I was... LaWanda set me straight again. We can always count on her. He does have 3 sons, and I forgot about poor Barron down there.
Yep.
Don, Eric, he's got 3. Don, Eric. We remember Don Jr.
Yep.
Eric's the one we couldn't remember, and now we got Barron. So we apologize, but we've got everybody keeping us in line.
Yeah, we do. Millie, thank you.
Yeah.
Row.
Now we know, but now we've got a couple of questions that come up, and one is, like you said, you're going back and you're going to celebrate 1 year of Roe versus Wade.
Mm-hmm. The reversal.
Explain, a little bit. What's your stance on that with the abortion?
Well, the Roe decision that was rendered back in 1973 was just an unconstitutional mess. It goes to show what happens when liberals get control of the Supreme Court. They'll write opinions that have no real basis or firm constitutional basis in the law. So we're going to celebrate the reversal of that decision today in Jackson, and that's a really big deal for me. I think that I'm a very pro-life individual. You heard me talk about my sons earlier, and for years I have fought as hard as I knew how to fight to make sure that we could end abortions in Mississippi. My opponent, on the other hand, I don't know if you know this or not, but back in 1976, Delbert Hosemann helped establish legally one of our state's abortion clinics.
No, I didn't know that.
And he was the vice president of that clinic from 1976 until the time it closed in about 1991. And that clinic performed abortions in this state. So it just
was the head of it.
He was the vice president. And don't take my word for that. This is under the Secretary of State's website. He's listed as the vice president of this abortion clinic. And he tries now to distance himself from that. But the only person that's really come to his defense was the abortion doctor. Such a credible guy there, right?
Boy.
So, it's a problem. I've been fighting for the pro-life movement my entire life, and Delbert has not. It goes to show, though, he isn't a Republican, and he never has been.
That, Odie, I don't even know what to say about that. I did not realize that little tidbit of information.
I didn't either, and man, but I'm glad that you answered that. And then the next question that, of course, it's been on my mind. It's been on a lot of people's mind. We all voted as a state to keep the flag that we had previous, and then we were told when it came back up that we wanted a new flag, that we would have a voice in that as well, but our governor decided that no, he was going to go ahead and just change the flag. And so we've had people want to reach out and ask you, what is your stance on the flag? What would you have done as lieutenant governor when that flag issue came up?
That issue belonged to the people, not the legislature, not the government. The people had a vote on that in 2001.
Right.
And when the legislature handed the people that vote, in my mind, they retained that right to make that determination. So I would have let the people vote on it. I think that's the only fair way to do it.
Am I right? And I want to say that I saw video within 3 days of this happening, the governor saying, I'm going to let the people vote on this. And then, like, overnight, whoosh, it was gone. Am I right in that? Did I remember that?
It was partially Delbert Hoseman's the one that pushed that so aggressively, and I'm assuming that Tate probably thought he didn't have the ability to override or to sustain the veto. If he would have vetoed the bill, I don't know the answer to that. I just know that ultimately decisions like that belong to the people.
True.
And I'm not a big fan of government imposing itself on people. I'm not a big fan of forcing issues on the people. I would have given the people the right to vote on that. I thought that was the only fair way to handle it.
There was a lot of people that really wanted that big mosquito flag. I know everybody saw that.
I voted for that, and I can't believe it fell out of the top 5. I was disappointed.
When I saw that, you couldn't help but laugh. I mean, it was truly funny.
Hey, if we're going to mess it up, let's do it right.
It's our state bird, right?
Yeah.
7:51 is we'll have more coming up in just a moment with Chris McDaniel, who is running for lieutenant governor of the great state of Mississippi.
Meridian's favorite barbecue is Squealer's Barbecue, named the barbecue capital for the state of Mississippi. Whether it's barbecue, wings, or burgers, Squealer's simply has the best for a family environment. Every Thursday night, there's live music out on the porch. Takeout orders are welcome, and whether it's your next tailgate or large catering event, your friends at Squealer's are there to help. Drop in for lunch today or a night out on the town. Squealer's Barbecue, the best in fine barbecue.
Are you ready for summer? Massey has a 2021 Jeep Wrangler that's waiting on you with only 61,000 miles. How about a Rogue with 57,000 miles? A 23 Camry with only 50 miles on it? Or maybe it's a Toyota Tacoma four-wheel drive that you're needing. From Silverados to F-250s, Massey Supermart Auto Sales, 1023 Highway 39 North.
Profit dealer, Massey Supermart.
I'm Devin Snowden, Republican candidate for District 1 Supervisor, Lauderdale County. I'm 6th generation Snowden to call this home. This is where I'm raising my family, where I work and serve the landowners of this area, and where we play. I want Lauderdale County to continue to call home. If elected, I'll do my best to make Lauderdale County its best. Please vote for me, Devin Snowden, on August 8th, and remember, I'm not just any candidate, I'm your neighbor.
Paid for by the campaign to elect Devin Snowden. And welcome back. A couple things that we wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Chief Deputy Ward Calhoun just sent us a message and said the young man that we showed the picture of a moment ago was taken into custody last night due to a tip. They surrounded a house, and he is in custody now. So that's good news.
Right. So good news when they got him without incident. So that's a great thing. And then this weekend.
What's happening?
This weekend, tonight, Friday night at 7 p.m., the Troy Burns family will be in concert. They're going to be, Lord have mercy, I just missed it all.
Did you miss it all?
At the EPG on Friday night. So
that's the Enterprise something.
Yes. East Pleasant Grove Baptist Church, located at 4126 County Road 672 in Quitman. So
I take back everything I just said about Enterprise.
Yeah.
I was all wrong there.
That's where we were going with it, with an E, and then I was like, well, if I go back to reading the rest of my text message, we would know it. So tonight, 7 p.m., East Pleasant Grove Baptist Church in Quitman, 7 p.m., Go by there and see the Troy Burns Family Gospel Singing Concert. Man, that's going to be good.
It will be. We got just a couple of minutes left here. Chris, as you talk to the folks of Lauderdale County, Kemper, Neshoba, everywhere the show reaches, tell them why they need to choose you to put that little check mark in.
Well, for 20 years, we've been watching this country degraded. For 20 years, we've seen our culture turned upside down. I once said that it's as though that bad became good and good became bad overnight.
Right.
It's like the days of Noah all over again. Look, the only way that happened is because we allowed it to. And we turned our attention away from the culture. We turned our attention away from government, and we forgot our responsibilities. I'm here to fight for what's left of this country. And not just to fight for what's left, but to reclaim lost ground. And we can't do that anywhere but right here in the Deep South. Like I said, Massachusetts is lost, California, New York, whatever the case may be. We have to find our places here to push back against Joe Biden, to push back against liberalism, to push back against socialism, and to reestablish what's right versus wrong in this country. And not be afraid to say it. Not be afraid to speak our minds. They're going to call us names. They're going to make fun of us. They're going to do all these things. Just stand your ground and fight for conservative values.
Now, that's important there. Again, this is coming up August the 8th is when you need them out. That's
Yes,
a
sir.
Tuesday, correct?
Yes, sir, August the 8th, and I'm asking for your vote, your support. Until then, help me tell your friends. Like I said, my opponent has all the money in the world. I have you and word of mouth, and so I'm asking people to help.
Now, I'm going to be conducting a stump speech in Meridian on the 1st, and if you can make it, I'm sure the people of Lauderdale County would love to have you there.
I would love that. That'd be a lot of fun.
All right, that's going to be happening downtown
Yes, sir.
Meridian. Y'all don't forget, on August the 1st, it will be at 6:30 at Dumont Plaza. If you'd like to come hear all of the candidates speak, Chris says he'll be able to make it. It is like being a part of our community. We need you there.
It's going to be very informative, and that's what we need.
It is.
Informative
It'll be great.
people going to vote.
Now, a lot happening this weekend. We want you to enjoy yourself. Again, we urge you to be very vigilant in where you go and what you do. With so many crimes that are happening in our area, we have at least 8 armed robberies. These are not just robberies to where they keep their hands in their pocket. This is where guns have been pulled, cash demanded. No one has been hurt. We don't want any of you. If you're watching this and you work in a convenience store, day or night, pay attention to what's around you. We don't want you to hurt. Support the police. If you see something, call them and tell them so they can take these folks off the streets. Back the blue. Help our guys that are helping us.
Head on a swivel. No matter what you do, head on a swivel. And we are a castle law state.
That is.
Means you can protect yourself.
A big thank you to Chris McDaniel coming in this morning. We can't thank each and every one of you for joining us and being a part of this. God bless you. And Odie, take us out.
Here we are. It's Friday. Y'all have a great weekend. We love you. Y'all bless us. We hope that we can bless your morning. Be safe this weekend. We'll see you in approximately 72 hours. Thank you.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: